The Raiders have officially traded away cornerback Jakorian Bennett. Yes, you heard that right. A name many fans hoped would break out is now heading to the Philadelphia Eagles. In return, the Raiders received defensive tackle Thomas Booker for a bold move that says a lot about this team's new direction. But let's unpack what this really means. Jakorian Bennett came in with speed, athleticism, and potential. But under this new-look Raiders regime, potential isn't enough. Head coach Antonio Pierce and defensive coordinator Patrick Graham are building a defense with one word in mind: physicality. And that starts with size. Just look at the secondary they're crafting: Eric Stokes, Darian Porter, Jeremy Chin, all over 6'2", rangy, and aggressive. That's the blueprint now. Unfortunately for Bennett, he just didn't fit the mold anymore. And remember, with the Raiders shifting toward a big nickel defense, there's less need for smaller corners. Only two starting outside cornerbacks? That means competition is fierce, and Bennett had reportedly been slipping down the depth chart. Before we dive into more insider updates from Raiders camp, do us a quick favor. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and don't forget to ring the bell so you never miss major news and breakdowns like this. Alright, let's keep going. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Despite his struggles in Vegas, Bennett still has upside, and that's why the Eagles jumped on the opportunity. But make no mistake, this trade isn't about what Philly gains. It's about the Raiders tightening their identity. Bigger, stronger, meaner. Pete Carroll once said, "It's not just about speed, it's about impact." That's what Vegas wants now. So what does Thomas Booker 4 bring? He's young, powerful, and fits the scheme better. Expect him to be in the rotation early, especially with the Raiders looking to beef up the interior line. Bottom line, the Raiders are no longer experimenting. They're executing a plan, and Jakorian Bennett just wasn't part of it. Let's talk about why this move actually works in the Raiders' favor. Trading Jakorian Bennett wasn't just about subtraction, it was also about filling a critical gap. The Raiders desperately needed more power and depth on the defensive line, and in return, they landed defensive tackle Thomas Booker for a name that may not turn heads today, but one that could quietly become a difference maker. Booker is no rookie in the game. A Stanford product, smart and disciplined. He's already logged 180 snaps in the NFL, most recently with the Eagles. While he hasn't been a full-time starter, there's something undeniable about his tape: explosiveness off the line, solid instincts against the run, and flashes of pass rush potential that can't be ignored. Let's be real, the Raiders' defensive interior has been a weak spot, especially after parting ways with key veterans. Bringing in Booker doesn't fix everything overnight, but it adds a developmental player who fits the mold of what this defense is becoming: aggressive, fast, and unpredictable. What makes this move even smarter? The Raiders were likely going to cut Bennett anyway. He didn't fit the new defensive scheme, wasn't trending upward, and was buried in the rotation. Rather than letting him walk for nothing, Vegas flipped him for a player who might actually crack the rotation and contribute this season. In the end, this is the kind of calculated move championship rosters are built on. Quiet, smart, and forward-thinking. The Raiders didn't just ship out a player, they brought in one with upside, hunger, and purpose. What's truly fascinating about this move isn't just who left, it's who the Raiders chose to keep. Instead of sticking with a 2-year NFL vet like Jakorian Bennett, who's played over 1,500 snaps and flashed raw talent, the Raiders are betting on rookies and unproven names like Darian Porter and Cameron Richardson. That's not just bold, it's a message. This coaching staff believes in what they're seeing on the field right now, not what's written on paper. And according to reports coming out of training camp, Greedy Vance has been one of the standouts. A former ball hawk with 5 college interceptions, he's now turning heads with key takeaways in Raiders camp. He's fast, physical, and most importantly, he's making plays. Even Porter, still green in NFL experience, is generating buzz. Some inside the building believe he could be the next breakout star at cornerback. So, when you step back, the logic becomes clear. This wasn't just a trade. It was a reshuffling of priorities. The Raiders are not clinging to past performance. They're looking ahead, toward youth, athleticism, and upside. Jakorian Bennett, once seen as a long-term piece, simply didn't match the new vision. Giving him a fresh start in Philly? That's just good business. And what do the Raiders get in return? A defensive tackle with potential and the added benefit of roster clarity. The secondary battle is shaping up fast, and it's being won by the new blood. Even before this trade went down, most Raiders fans could see it coming. Jakorian Bennett wasn't going to be a starter. The competition at cornerback has been fierce, and the pecking order was already beginning to take shape. At this point, Eric Stokes looks locked in on one side. On the opposite end, it's shaping up to be a tight three-man battle between Cameron Richardson, JT Woods, and rookie Darian Porter. Each brings something different: Richardson's physicality, Woods' unpredictability, and Porter's raw but rising talent. One of them will start, but realistically, we'll probably see all three on the field at some point. Cornerback is a volatile position. If one guy struggles, the next man up is ready. And let's not forget Greedy Vance, a strong candidate to be the fifth man in that unit. He's already making waves in camp and could force his way into serious playing time. Beyond those five, the Raiders still have depth names like Darnay Holmes and Sam Webb, but the top of the chart is clearly being rebuilt with a youth-first mindset. Meanwhile, all eyes shift to Thomas Booker IV, the newest addition in the defensive trenches. The Raiders are in dire need of help there, especially after moving on from Christian Wilkins. Right now, Adam Butler stands as the team's most reliable interior presence. He's solid, but he isn't a complete three-down defensive tackle. Booker has a chance to carve out a role fast. He's young, explosive, and joins a position group that's still finding its identity. Whether he suits up against the Seattle Seahawks in the upcoming preseason game remains to be seen, but Raiders fans should keep a close eye on his development. Because unless someone else steps up soon, Vegas will be counting on him sooner than later. Let's not sugarcoat it. Adam Butler is the anchor of the Raiders' defensive line. But beyond him, things get shaky fast. While Butler has shown improvement as a run defender, Las Vegas still lacks a dependable, three-down interior lineman. There are names in the rotation: Zachary Carter, Jonah Lalu, Matthew Butler, Nesta Jade Silvera, and others, but none have truly separated themselves. Even among fans and analysts, Lalu is seen as a possible breakout candidate, but his 2024 tape has a lot to prove. Last year, it simply didn't impress. This is where Thomas Booker IV enters the conversation and possibly the lineup. Booker's tape from last season, limited as it was, shows more promise than most of the Raiders' current depth chart. He's explosive off the line, has solid technique in run defense, and flashes potential as a pass rusher. He may not be a star yet, but compared to Carter, Lalu, or Fehoko, Booker looked faster, more polished, and more consistent on film. Then there's rookie Tonka Hemingway, who brings upside too, but he's still a project. Which means if Booker adapts quickly, he could slide into the number 2 defensive tackle role behind Adam Butler almost by default. Of course, development isn't linear. Players grow. They bulk up, refine their technique, and adjust to new systems. But based on last season's tape, Booker has a head start. The real question is, can he seize this opportunity in Vegas? Because if he can, this under-the-radar trade could quietly become one of the smartest moves the Raiders have made this offseason. No doubt, Jakorian Bennett still has supporters, and rightfully so. But for the Raiders, it's full steam ahead. This team is clearly confident in the pieces it has, especially in the secondary. While fans might feel unsure, asking questions about Darian Porter or Cameron Richardson, the coaching staff has no hesitation. From Antonio Pierce to Patrick Graham, they see a unit that's raw but ready. And it's not just about who's playing cornerback, it's about how this defense is being reimagined. Vegas is designing a fast, aggressive, hybrid-style defense that breaks the mold. Instead of stacking traditional linebackers, they're unleashing athletic safeties closer to the line of scrimmage. Jamal Adams will line up as a linebacker. Jeremy Chin, built like a hammer, will operate in the box as a hybrid strong safety. Isaiah Polamau will slide into the slot with size and speed. It's a position-less approach, speed over size, versatility over rigidity. So, while the average fan might look at the roster and worry about inexperience or uncertainty, the staff sees matchups, flexibility, and playmakers. The strategy? Overwhelm offenses with eight-man fronts, but instead of old school thumpers, they'll be stacking the box with safeties built like linebackers. Every inch of grass near the line of scrimmage will be covered by guys who hit hard, move fast, and adjust on the fly. Bottom line, the Raiders aren't just tweaking their defense, they're redefining it. So, the Raiders' defense is going to look a lot different this season, and honestly, that could be a good thing. This new system, it's unique. We've seen it work before. Pete Carroll built his legacy with it in Seattle. Dan Quinn turned the Cowboys' defense into a powerhouse using it. Even the Commanders saw success with a version of it last year after Quinn came in. Now, while Robert Saleh runs something slightly different, he's still from that same defensive coaching tree. So here's the bottom line. If this works for the Raiders, it could be a game changer. But if it doesn't, well, it's going to raise a lot of questions. Now over to you. What do you think about the Raiders trading Jakorian Bennett? Should we bring in another cornerback, or are you confident in the guys we have? Drop your thoughts below, hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe. Catch you next time.